Hello everyone, welcome to the Jeres. I'm Mrs. Jere and thank you so much for joining me. So when you started the channel, I don't know if you remember the first video we did, it's right here if you don't. My husband said I will be doing most of the talking and we have decided that I should actually start talking. So for the next videos you'll be seeing more of me and less of him. He'll be behind the camera, behind the scenes, making sure everything looks beautiful and on point. So today, since I'm alone, right, I want us to get personal. But before we do that, I need to start small and introduce myself so that you get to know me, so that you trust me, so that you can confide in me if you want to. So we're gonna start with a get to know me video. So let's get right to it. I'm drinking tea now because I'm alone. Okay, so my name is Tulani. I am married to Walter Jere, my wonderful husband. I am from Klerksdorp. It's in the Northwest. I was born and raised there. So when I was 10 or 11, I lost my mother. I was raised by my father and he's responsible for the beautiful, gorgeous lady you see in front of you. Growing up, I've always been a deep person, like a deep thinker. I've always wanted to know a lot of things, and I'm always fascinated about the human mind and human behavior, why people do the things they do. So there's this thing that I read in a book, in the book that I'm reading of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Stephen R. Covey says, what is your mission statement? Like, when you go out into the world, what do you want to present? What do you want to leave behind? Like with the person, every person that you meet. And for me, my mission statement is to leave people with encouragement, to leave people with a change of perspective, because I believe that once you have a change of perspective, in the book he calls it a paradigm shift, then you can be able to change your behavior and change your life, So that is the person that I am. Wherever I am, I want encouragement to be there. I want there to be a change of perspective for people to go like, yeah, I never thought of it that way. So yes, I hope while we are doing these videos, you'll reach a moment where you're like, I never thought about it that way. So I love poetry. I remember I started writing poetry because I was having difficulty expressing myself, right? So as a way of trying to get my voice across, I would write down my thoughts, and I started doing poetry in grade 7 for the first time in front of people. I was inspired by Lebo Mashile. So there was this show, I don't know if you know the show, please holler at me. There was this show called Latitude on SABC1, and at the end of her program, her documentary, then she would perform a poem, and I found it so beautiful how she put the words together and expressed herself, So I started taking her poems and reciting them, imitating her. And I remember the first poem I ever wrote was called I Am Who I Am Because I'm Me. I am who I am because I'm not gonna do it. I love tea. I love great conversations. I like people who inspire. I like reading books. But I love reading the Bible more than anything because for most of my life, I didn't understand the Bible. So after I got born again, I understood the Bible, and that was just a huge thing for me. I actually read the Bible like a crazy person because for the first time I could understand. So I love reading the Bible. I love getting revelations from the Bible, and I love sharing those. Hey, I love, ne? And I love sharing those revelations with other people. My dream destination would be to go to Japan. I love Japan. I love Japanese people and just the way they handle life, how disciplined they are, how organized they are. Marie Kondo, is Marie Kondo Japanese? Oh, yeah. Marie Kondo, have you seen Marie Kondo? Check her out. I completed my matric at Al Huda Muslim School. Yes, I went to a Muslim school. It was quite a challenging time, in the sense that I didn't go. Okay. It was quite challenging because it was so different from what I was used to. I went to a public school, INTRODUCING primary school, and then when I went to high school, my dad took me to Al Huda Muslim School. But I remember the reason he took me to Al Huda Muslim School was because all the schools were full. He was late in registering me, so this school was available. So that's how I went to a Muslim school. It was so scary because I had to wear the burqa. We called it a burqa. I had to wear the burqa and I had to wear the kurta. So kurta is the dress, burqa is the head wrap, right? And I remember, it would get so hot. Like even in the classrooms we had fans because it would get so hot in summer. But I had a wonderful time at my high school. I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity to go there and to meet the people that I've met, and to just the level of education was really good, and I got to learn about Islam. And then after high school, I actually took a gap year in 2012. I finished matric in 2011. And it's been 10 years. And I don't know, why did I take a gap year? I don't remember why I took a gap year, but I took a gap year. And during that gap year, I entered a beauty pageant because I wanted to challenge myself. I felt like, I could do anything. And I went and I applied for the Miss Blackstorp beauty pageant. I didn't know that there was so much that goes into a pageant. You have to rehearse, you have to learn the dance moves and choreography. There's a lot that goes behind, like what we see on TV when we're watching Miss South Africa is so different from the behind the scenes. It's a lot of work. So big up Shudu. So unfortunately I didn't become Miss Blackstorp, but it was such a beautiful experience of learning about myself and about other women who were around me. So that was great. And my dad called me Greek goddess because of the dress that I was wearing. So I was called Greek goddess, and I was so short. People, remember, I'm very short, and the people that enter beauty pageants are usually tall. So I was the first one in line, and whenever we walked into stage, I would be the first one in front. The smile, it wasn't coming. I don't know how people can smile and walk, and I couldn't even walk in heels. So it was a lot of things going. There was a lot going on. So if you are entering pageants, hey man, respect. And then I went to varsity to study accounting. I received a bursary to study accounting, and I went to the Northwest University in Potchefstroom, and that's where I started my varsity journey. But unfortunately, it didn't go so well because of the choices that I made when I got to varsity. I was just forward. I was just not giving thought to my schoolwork, and just, when you find freedom, when you find freedom and you don't know how to use it, you end up making stupid mistakes. So that's what I did. I met friends, and it didn't go well. So I failed my first year of varsity, and then I had to go back again, and then I failed my second year of varsity. So the third time I went, I just dropped out. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I dropped out, went back home, and it was in that time when I was home that I started applying for jobs and all that. But fortunately, because I did so well in in matric, I got an opportunity, a learnership opportunity at Siemens. So, but the way that happened was I was applying for Standard Bank, and I think, okay, I was applying for Standard Bank, and the way it happened was I just feel like it has God written all over it, because after I applied for Standard Bank, I think Standard Bank took my details to Siemens. And instead of getting a job at Standard Bank, the one that I was applying for as a bank teller, I actually got a job at Siemens, which was this big company that I didn't know anything about, this big engineering company. So I went to Siemens and did my learnership there. And this was in 2017. And that's how I got to move from Klerksdorp to Joburg, right? So it's Tulani comes to Jeres. Okay, so that's how I got to Joburg. And it was here in 2017 where I met my husband, and where I met Jesus, and how I got born again. And I think for me, the job was a way, like was a door that was open for me, you know. It was a door that opened to so much, because had I not come here, I wouldn't have met my husband. I don't know, obviously Jesus, I could meet Jesus anyway, but I wouldn't have met my husband, you know. And I have been a Christian since then, since 2017 to date. I am a Bible reading, tongue speaking, God-fearing Christian. And I think this has been the most amazing 3 years of my life. Living, like, out of all the years that I remember here on this earth, this past 3 years with God have been the most amazing and impactful years of my life. So I'm very thankful. I'm very thankful to have God in my life. Some of the things that I love to do, okay, I love reading, but I love reading, but I love reading the Bible, simply because for the most part of my life, I didn't understand what was going on in the Bible. And it was only after I got born again that I actually understood. And because I understood, I wanted to read more and understand more. So that's why I love reading the Bible. I love knowing about God, and I love finding myself in the Word, you know. And I love reading other books as well, and listening to sermons, YouTube videos, watching a series, drinking tea. And I love eating out. I actually love going out to restaurants and fine dining. Yeah. And I really love to cook. I love to find, okay, I'm saying I love a lot. So I love to cook. I love to try out new recipes. And ever since we moved to this place, I actually found that I love having people around. Because, you know, when you have a small space and when you don't have much, it's difficult for you to invite people over, because what are you going to give them? You know, like, you know that when you cook 2 pieces, you have budgeted for the 2 kg, for it's going to last you the whole month. Now when you invite someone over, you're like, ish, 1 piece is gone. So I actually realized when we moved to this place that I love inviting people over, like having people like dining and just having a good time. So I love being a host, I guess. Yeah. And okay, so these are just a few things about myself, a little bit about my story, where I'm from. And so this is just a little bit about myself. If there's something that you would like to know, please put in the comments. Ask your question, and I'm very open. You know, I'm not a closed book. I'm very open, so you can ask your question, and I'll do my best to answer it. Okay, thank you so much for joining me. I hope that we can have more of these intimate conversations from now until I don't know when. That's what I want to do. I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear about your story, where you're from, what you are about. So don't forget to like, share, and comment, and I'll see you next time. Happy.